Hello everyone. In this video, I will take remaining questions of your NCERT exercise, question number 6 to question number 10. As I have discussed the previous 5 questions in my last video. So let's start with the question number 6. In this type of question, children, you are given a graph like this. This graph gives us a relationship between distance and time for 3 objects, A, B and C. Okay. Now, first question based on the graph is which of the 3 is traveling the fastest. So it means in this question you have to calculate which object has the maximum speed. Okay. So how from the graph you can determine the speed of the object? Clearly you know that the slope of distance and time graph gives us the speed of the object. Okay. Now, if I get the angle of the object, then I can calculate the speed of the object. How I can calculate angle? Suppose this is the slope of object A. I want this angle. So for this angle, I need to draw a base, okay, and height. So it means I have to draw a triangle which will represent the object A. So let's do it. This is a triangle which we have drawn from the given slope. Okay, similarly we'll draw the triangles for remaining objects. So here I have got 3 triangles A, B and C. Now children, we don't want the exact value of the angle. We just want to predict the maximum value by just looking at the figure. So can you tell me which object makes maximum angle with the base? Obviously by looking at the figure we can determine that object B makes maximum angle or the highest angle. How? If we got the angle, then we can decide the speed of the object, because the slope of the distance time graph gives us the speed of the object. So maximum angle, maximum speed. So clearly from here we can conclude that angle B is greater than angle C, and further it is also greater than angle A. So object B is covering more distance in less time as it has maximum slope. How maximum slope? We determined by its angle. Okay, so maximum angle, maximum slope, maximum speed. Question number 2. In this you have to calculate, are all 3 ever at the same point? Are all 3 ever meet at the same point on the road? Okay, it means are the 3 objects A, B and C meet at a same point on the road? It means at a fixed distance. Okay, so how we can do that? What we do, we will draw a line parallel to time axis. You can take any distance. Here I have taken 8 kilometer. Okay, so from 8 kilometer distance I will draw a parallel line to the time axis, and this parallel line will intersect the 3 given slopes at some different points. So I will draw a perpendicular from the intersection point to the time axis like this. So this perpendicular give me the value of object A. This gives me the value of object B, and this gives me the value of time for object C. Okay, now are meet at a same point. So to meet at a same point, the 3 objects should meet at the same time, then only they can meet with each other. Okay, so now clearly from here you can say that at 8 kilometer distance, object A was at near about 0.7 seconds. Okay, object B was there around 0.9 seconds, and object C was there about 1.1 seconds. So clearly this gives you the information that no, all three objects are not at the same point on road at any instant. Here I have taken 8 kilometer. You can take any value, whether 11, 3, 2, 5, whatever. Okay, but you will get the same answer. Now, question number C. This is third part of question number 6. In this, you have to calculate how far has C travelled when B passes A. So, this line means when B passes A, means B crosses A. So, we will get an intersection point of two objects, object B and object A. So, this is the intersection point. Okay. Now, we have to calculate the distance travelled by C when B crosses A. When we have an intersection between object B and A, then what will be the distance travelled by object C? So, definitely this perpendicular will cross the object C. Okay, as you can see here, this is the point of intersection at slope of object C. Now, from this point, we will draw a parallel line to time axis. Okay, and this line will touch the y-axis at 8 kilometer. Clear? Now, this 8 kilometer is the final position of object C. But we want to calculate the initial position also of object C. Then only we can calculate the exact distance travelled by object C. So, look for the starting point of object C. This is the starting point of object C, because at this point, the straight line is starting. Okay. So, this will be the initial point of object C. Now, we have to calculate the numeric value of this point. How we can do so? So, from 0 to 4, calculate, you will find there are 7 square boxes. So, 7 square boxes equals to 4 kilometer. So, what will be the value of 1 square box? It will be 4 by 7 kilometer. Yes. Now, the starting point of object C is at this point. So, calculate the number of boxes here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So, it means for 4 square boxes, what will be the distance? So, 4 into 4 by 7, it will give you 16 by 7 kilometer. Yes. So, now we have got initial point as well as final point. We can calculate the distance travelled by object C. So, final position minus initial position, when you will put the values, you will get the distance travelled by C as 5.714 kilometer. Now, question number D. In this, you have to calculate how far has B travelled by the time it passes C. Means, in this, you have to calculate the distance travelled by object B when it passes C or when it crosses C. Okay. So, again we will look for the intersection point. We have two objects B and C, and this is the intersection point of these two objects. Similarly, from this intersection point, we will draw a parallel line which will touch the distance axis at this point. Now, again we have to calculate the magnitude of this point. So, we will start with counting the number of boxes. So, let's start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, how many boxes has been covered? 9 boxes. And in the previous part, we have already discussed, then 1 square box represent 4 by 7 kilometer. So, 9 boxes will represent 9 into 4 by 7, that is 36 by 7 kilometer. Okay. Now, the initial point of object B, it is starting from 0. So, what will be the distance travelled by B? Final position minus initial position. Final is 36 by 7 minus 0. So, it will give you the value as 5.143 kilometer. Okay. I hope all the 4 parts are clear to you. Now, let's move to question number 7. a ball is gently dropped from a height of 20 meter. Okay, here from this height the ball is gently dropped. If its velocity increases uniformly at a rate of 10 meter per second square. Now again children, what is this value? This is given the acceleration. Okay, with what velocity will it strike the ground? Means first you have to calculate the velocity of the ball by which it will strike the ground, and second you have to calculate what time will it strike after strike the ground. Okay, so velocity and time, these two values you have to calculate. So what are given to us? Height of the tower, height is 20 meter, ball is gently dropped. So initial velocity of ball is 0 because initially the ball is kept at rest. Acceleration is given to us, that is 10 meter per second square. Now in this numerical we will not put negative sign before 10. Why? Because the direction of motion of the ball and the direction of acceleration due to gravity, both are in the same direction. Clear? So using third equation of motion, v square minus u square equals to 2as, put the values, whatever values you have. U will be 0, 2 into 10 into 20. On solving, you will get 20 meter per second. Okay. Now, to calculate time, after what time will it strike the ground, we will use first equation of motion. Again, put the values and you will get time as 2 seconds. So, ball will strike the ground with velocity of 20 meter per second, and time taken by the ball to reach the ground will be 2 seconds. Okay children, now let's move to question number 8. Again in this question you are given a graph, but the graph is between speed and time. In the first part of the question you have to calculate, find out how far the car travels in first 4 seconds. Okay, first 4 seconds. How far? It means you have to calculate displacement covered by the car. And how we calculate displacement covered by the object when we are given a graph between speed and time? Yes, by calculating the area under the curve. So, again this approximately this shape makes a triangle. Okay, we will ignore this curve part and we will assume there is a straight line approximately. So it makes a triangle. So the area of triangle is half base into height. Put the value, base is 4, height is 6. So the displacement covered by the object within 4 seconds is 12 meter. Now in the second part you are asked which part of the graph represents uniform motion. Uniform motion means when there is no change in speed, when there is no change in velocity. So this part means time is continuously changing but the value of speed is same. So the part between 6 seconds and 10 seconds represent the uniform motion of car. Now question number 9. State which of the following situations are possible and give an example for each of these. So the first situation is an object with a constant acceleration but with zero velocity. So do you think this situation is possible? Means object is moving with constant acceleration but the velocity is 0. Yes, this is a possible case when, as we have discussed this case in the question number 7 also. Okay, so when an object is thrown from a maximum height, the velocity of the object is 0 but the acceleration acts on the body is not 0. Acceleration is equal to acceleration due to gravity. Clear? Second part, an object moving in a certain direction with an acceleration in the perpendicular direction. Yes, this is again a possible case as we have discussed in uniform circular motion. In this type of motion, at every point the direction of velocity changes. So as the velocity changes, the perpendicular component of velocity is always acceleration. So acceleration always acts towards the center of the circular path. This type of acceleration is called radial acceleration or centripetal acceleration. Okay, so again this case is also a possible case. Now move to last question of the exercise. An artificial satellite is moving in a circular orbit of radius 42,250 km. Radius is given. Calculate its speed if it takes 24 hours to revolve around the earth. So we have to calculate the speed of the revolution. Okay. Now this question can be solved by two ways. If you do not convert this kilometer into meter and hour into second, so your speed will be in kilometer per hour. Okay, but what I suggest to convert the units to the SI units of the given physical quantity. So convert radius into kilometer, it will give you 42,250 into 1000, and convert 24 hours into seconds, so it will give you 86,400 seconds. Now the speed of revolution, the formula is from uniform circular motion 2 pi r upon t. Put the value here. The value of pi will be taken as 22 by 7. When you put the values and solve, you will get the speed of circular moving object as 3073.74 meter per second. Okay, so this was all about the remaining questions of your NCERT exercise. I hope now the concept is clear to you. Do practice a lot. Thank you.